So, guys, there's a very interesting conversation that I saw on Season Bofual's channel, and they were talking about this issue of social grants. Man, I must say that it is sad that in this country today, we have millions and millions of South Africans that are fully dependent on social grants. And according to the ANC, this is an achievement. You remember when the ANC was campaigning for 2024 elections, the president of this country told the South Africans that we have over 20 million people that are fully dependent on social grants. And Ramaphosa told the South Africans that, guys, if you vote for other political parties, chances are they're going to scrap these social grants. So instead of the president of the country telling young people what he's actually doing to make sure that they have jobs, instead of this person speaking about the jobs, he was telling South Africans that you need to be okay with the fact that you are fully dependent on social grants. And don't you dare think of voting for other political parties because those people are going to take away these social grants. Guys, I was shocked with the reaction from South Africans because it's almost as if the president didn't say nothing. South Africans didn't react. And I remember after Ramaphosa said that, I came on this platform and I said, guys, that statement alone, it is enough for young people to go out and tell Ramaphosa it is time to resign. Clearly, you have no plan on how to fix this country. You have no plan on how to deal with the issue of unemployment. If you're gonna stand there as the president of the country to tell us to be okay with the social grants, then clearly you don't know what the hell that you are doing. But somehow South Africans did not react to all of this. They did not react to all of this. It was sad, man.
Thank you all so much for joining me. It's really wonderful to have you. And Kelly, could we begin with you? In terms of South Africa's social grants landscape, we fall into a context of poverty and hunger that seems to be worsening. Can you paint the picture of where we are as it stands in South Africa today?
Yes, by most metrics, poverty, hunger, and unemployment have worsened over recent years, especially since 2019. So we've seen an increase in the number of households experiencing moderate to severe food insecurity. And that increase has been from 27% of excuse me, I'm getting my facts wrong. The increase in households experiencing moderate to severe food insecurity has been from 16% in 2019 to 20% in 2023. So 1 in 5 households experiencing moderate to severe food insecurity. And we also know that 1 in 5 households are regularly sending a member out to beg for food. So that is a dire picture of hunger that is certainly getting worse. We also know that child poverty has increased quite significantly from 55% in 2019 to about 70% now. So that's a huge jump. While at the same time, the coverage of the child support grant has decreased from about 69%, so commensurate to the number roughly in poverty, to about 65% today. Wow. And that's indicative of a broader trend across the social grant system, not only in terms of decreasing coverage and access, but also in terms of decreasing value. So social grants are less able to enable recipients to meet their basic needs now than they were previously. Of the number of households reliant on social grants, about 35% now are experiencing food insecurity, and that's worsened since 2019. So the social safety net is inadequate for our current crisis, and in many ways it's getting worse. We have a huge glaring gap in the social safety net, and that is working age adults who are in food poverty, who are unable to enter into work, not because of a lack of trying, not because of any personal failing, but because of the structural nature of unemployment, where jobs simply are not available. So by the expanded rate, which includes discouraged work seekers, 42.9% of working age adults are unemployed. And aside from the SRD grant, there is no permanent support, social assistance for that group. Social assistance is a constitutional right. And the government is required to progressively realise that right for people who need it. So what we're actually seeing with this fall in coverage relative to poverty, hunger and unemployment is a retrogression of that right. It's going backwards.
Oh man, I'm speechless, guys. I'm speechless. I'm speechless because it is getting bad. Every day it is getting bad.
Thandi, I mean, where do we stand in terms of the way that social grants have in some ways expanded over COVID, but now there's this new contraction? And are we meeting the needs that have been so painfully exposed by Kelly?
Well, the SRD grant, I think it's important to understand, was an emergency response to the COVID pandemic. In March, we had a hard lockdown, and the rate of unemployment and poverty and debt and destitution escalated sharply. And so the social relief of distress grant was implemented and made accessible. And I use that word accessible very lightly, to beneficiaries to access. We have seen the evolution of this grant, albeit a nominal amount, the impact it has had on recipients. Just under 94% of SRD recipients use that grant for food. They use that grant to avoid hunger and starvation.
But guys, so let's be honest. How can you buy food with the 350? Why is this lady actually sitting there and pretending like the government is actually doing something with this 350? People cannot survive on 350. Even these politicians that are advocating for these social grants, they will never survive on 350. But how do they expect South Africans to survive on 350? And instead of addressing the huge elephant in the room, the issue of unemployment, they keep pushing people into the lines of these social grants. And they are patting themselves at the back and saying that finally we are doing something about the people of this country that are starving. But as a rational person, what do you expect anybody to do with 370? What do you expect people to do? To say that we are fighting hunger, we are giving people 350 per month, and this is our way of showing South Africans that we want to fight hunger. How do you expect the people on the ground to feed their families with 350? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And when you look on the side, things are getting worse. Companies are leaving this country. People are losing their jobs. More and more people are depending on the state. And I feel like this is exactly what the ANC want. They want to push the people of this country to be fully dependent on the state so that the people of this country can continue to vote for them. Because they know that people that are desperate, they will do anything to survive. And if you are a political party and you're going to stand there and promise these people free money, they will continue to vote for you. It doesn't matter how incompetent you are, they will continue to vote for you. But how can anybody survive on 350? Guys, let's be honest. How can anybody survive on 350?
And also, we've seen a lot of attack on that grant as well. I mean, the National Treasury tried very hard to terminate the grant in 2021 and almost succeeded. But through the consistent advocacy of civil society organizations, we managed to defend and to protect that grant. So just the thought of it being terminated is not only unconstitutional, but it creates panic because it'll be widespread destitution. But as far as the other grants are concerned, and I think it's safe to say, the amounts given to beneficiaries is not enough. We know this. We see the impact. I mean, the child support grant in itself is not enough to sustain a child. Grants are a constitutional right. and it is a proactive measure to fight against economic injustice. But it becomes problematic when the grants themselves aren't easily accessible, but also the amounts given don't cover basic needs. So as much as there are inroads,
I mean, like, this thing is easy, man. There wouldn't be any need for the government to give people grants if South Africans were working, man. There wouldn't be any need for that. Of course, there are exceptions, especially when it comes to the senior citizens. I mean, like, it is fine. But when it comes to young people like us, there's absolutely no need why the government should be spending so much money on the social grants. If people were working, nobody was even going to complain about the fact that this grant money is too small, because people would be busy getting real money so that they can provide for their families instead of getting these 350s and not knowing what to do with it.
in some regards, like the SRD grant, we are still struggling with glaring stats, as Kelly shared, of poverty and hunger, and our grants aren't just cutting it.
Leandro, can I come to you? Because in some ways, South Africa and Brazil have followed parallel experiences with social assistance and security and grants. Can you talk us through the Brazilian experience, especially since COVID, where I know there was a rapid expansion and then again a contraction in some ways of the security that's been provided to citizens?
Well, it's an amazing opportunity to be with you guys talking about this, because I can see that, as you mentioned, there's enormous connection between the scenario in Brazil and in South Africa. And we
Surprise,
have the
surprise.
famous Bolsa Familia program, but it also has its ups and downs. We had this enormous success since 2003 with Bolsa Familia, and it kept growing up until the very close months to the COVID, when conservative governments decided to shrink it a little bit. When COVID hit, it was the Bolsa Familia platform that showed how grants to overcome the pandemic itself were so successful. And since then, Bolsa Familia has not been shrinked even more. In fact, after COVID, the country decided, much because of civil society engagement and campaigns, to sustain the levels of spending throughout social policy. And this is a national issue. So civil society is discussing, academia is discussing, and politicians cannot go back to the levels of expenditure that were in place before COVID. So we had something like $7 billion being spent on Bolsa Familia in 2018, 2019, and now we have something close to $40 billion. So COVID had a tremendous impact in making the expenditures as high as possible. And following my colleagues' debate on food insecurity, we have supply chains, agriculture systems that have been disrupted during the pandemic. But food insecurity is also a matter of income available to purchase food, and that is definitely something that the grants now that are back to the name of Bolsa Familia, because Bolsonaro changed that in order to try to get rid of the brand that didn't belong to his government. But we went back to Bolsa Familia. They are the only thing that is sustaining the families' income and budget in front of this disruption of supply chains and food provisions, food supply that is available. Hopefully, we can.
Yeah, you've.
You know, guys, I would actually like to see these politicians surviving on 350. I would like to see the likes of Ramaphosa, Fikile Mbalula, and all of these politicians actually surviving on 350, because clearly these people do not understand what is happening on the ground. They do not understand what is happening on the ground. And for this lady to say that, yeah, just below 98% of the people that are receiving these 350 grants, they are using these grants so that they can avoid hunger. I mean, guys, let's be honest, man. Let's be honest and let's be serious as South Africans. There's absolutely no way that anybody can feed a family with 350. Absolutely no way. I would like to see these politicians being given these social grants to see if they can actually survive. Give Fikile Mbalula 350 and say, Fikile Mbalula, you have nothing but there's a 350 for this month. Let's see how you're going to make it work. Let's see how you're going to make it work. And this is the reason why we are saying that these people that are in charge of this country are full of nonsense. Because the South Africans need jobs. They're full of nonsense. But right now, it's almost as if there's a deliberate economic sabotage so that the South Africans can be fully dependent on these people. This is exactly what it looks like right now. This is exactly what it looks like. And on the side, you have the EFF calling for the unemployment grant. The EFF saying that the people that are sitting at home unemployed, they should be given something like 1,500 or 2,000 rands to help them find employment. R1,000, over 1,000 rand, 1,500, 1,500 rands. They say that, yeah, this is the policy that we are standing behind. Why? It's because the EFF understands the situation on the ground. And they know that if we keep dangling these things in front of these people's eyes, the chances are maybe they're going to vote for us. Because the ANC is giving them grants, but we are telling them that we're going to double their grants. You remember Julius Malema telling the people in this country, poor people in this country, to continue making babies because when the EFF is in charge, they're going to double the grant that people are getting right now. A whole leader of a political party is telling South Africans that you must continue to make babies. Make babies left, right, and center. We don't care if you cannot afford to feed those babies. As the EFF government, we're gonna double your grant so that you can be fine. These are the politicians that we have in this country. These are the politicians that we have in this country. And when we say that these politicians are nothing but garbage, some of their supporters come out to insult us. But what are we expected to say as South Africans when things are actually like this? It is sad, man. It is sad. Like, guys, it is sad. It is sad. I live in the townships. I know how people are affected by this. I know people personally that are fully dependent on social grants, and it is not nice on them. It is not nice on them. And I would not go to any platform and to say that these people are trying to avoid hunger with this 350. This is not something that I would actually say on the platform. I would just say that it is shameful that young people in this country that are able to work are sitting at home unemployed. Sitting at home unemployed because there are no job opportunities. And there is no plan from the government of this country to actually do something about it. Because as we speak, companies are leaving. It's not like companies are coming. People are being retrenched. More and more people are losing their jobs. And more people are going to depend on social grants. But this is what I would say. But to say that people are avoiding hunger with 350, this is not something that I would actually say. Or to basically insinuate that the government is trying to assist the people with this issue of hunger, so they're going to give them 350s. It is not acceptable. This is not something that South Africans should accept. But we have, guys, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.